You didn't click this by accident. You were summoned. Something inside you, deep, ancient, undeniable, recognized this frequency before your mind even caught up. That's because this isn't just another message. This is a spiritual activation, a divine signal for the ones who've always known they were different, misunderstood, set apart, chosen. If you've ever felt like you were born into the wrong time, if you've ever looked around and thought, there has to be more than this, this is your confirmation. You've been carrying something sacred, something powerful, something timeless. And now, it's waking up. This isn't about hype. This isn't about likes or views. This is prophetic alignment. Your soul didn't just show up. It was sent. And the proof is in how you feel right now. That rush in your chest, that chill down your spine, that's not emotion. That's recognition. You were written about in realms before this world had language for what you carry. You were whispered about in visions, seen in dreams, protected by prayers that were never spoken out loud. And now, here you are. The scroll is opening, and you are the next line. So don't hold back. Don't doubt yourself. Don't wait for outside validation. This is your moment. You are the proof your bloodline prayed for. You are the sign the world has been watching for. And today, right now, you start to remember. Let's go. Not every destiny is written in lightning or crowned by thunder. Some callings arrive quiet, buried deep in the bones of those who feel too much, question too early, and carry a weight they never chose. These lives aren't marked by grandeur, but by quiet conviction. And beneath the surface of ordinary beginnings, something ancient begins to stir. Purpose that predates titles. Purpose born not from applause, but from alignment. We've been conditioned to imagine destiny as spectacle. Banners waving, voices roaring, recognition echoing through crowds. But the truest callings, the ones that shake timelines and realign entire generations, don't come wrapped in noise. They come in silence, in struggle, in the life that looks small on the outside, but changes everything from within. The oldest codes speak not of fame or elevation, but of endurance, not of crowns, but of character. The sacred texts never promise status, they promise transformation. And that transformation didn't begin with thrones. It began with one soul, willing to stand when standing felt like breaking. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom. For you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. This mission you carry was not given to the strongest in stature or the loudest in voice. It was given to the one who kept choosing truth when illusion was easier, the one who wept behind closed doors but still showed up whole, the one who felt every cut and chose to create healing instead of harm. The weight you felt wasn't random, it was recognition. The isolation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Through every unseen sacrifice, every spiritual scar, something inside you was being carved, not for display, but for direction. You weren't built to perform. You were formed to become. And now, that inner blueprint is activating. You hold a vibration that interrupts cycles. Your presence alone realigns rooms. You weren't meant to blend in. You were designed to recalibrate. You've carried ancient wisdom that others couldn't name, but always felt. And even when the path went dim, you didn't forget the call. You just kept walking. The struggle taught you to listen beyond words. The losses gifted you perspective no textbook could offer. You've gathered knowledge from pain, power from rejection, and insight from being the one no one expected to rise. What you're stepping into now isn't a stage, it's a sacred shift. The evidence isn't in your titles. It's in how many lives begin to shift when they encounter your truth. You didn't come to entertain. You came to awaken. You are not the echo. You are the origin. You didn't choose this for visibility. You were chosen for visibility to find you. You are the answer to questions generations didn't know how to ask. You are the redirection that was needed but never seen coming. You are the threshold where pain ends and purpose begins. So forget the myths of grandeur. Forget the stories that made power look like noise. This prophecy, it was never about being seen. It was about being felt. And you, exactly as you are, have always been the fulfillment. Your walk is not for show, it's for shift. You are not following a script, you are writing a new one. You carry the proof that evolution can be embodied. That quiet strength is world-altering. That sacred purpose wears ordinary skin. And this right now is your confirmation. You were never late to the prophecy. You were born as the prophecy. There are those who were never meant to blend into the backdrop of this world. Souls designed not to follow the crowd, but to awaken something sacred. And often, before that rising begins, there is a quiet stripping away, a stretch of life where nothing seems to make sense, and the connection you crave seems just out of reach. But what if that disconnection was never a curse? What if it was the first sign of your activation? If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You walked into rooms and felt invisible, not because you lacked light, but because your light was veiled for a reason. Relationships left you empty, not because you weren't enough, but because your depth could not be met by surface-level connection. You tried to shape yourself to fit environments never meant to hold you, and every attempt left your spirit restless. That ache, that alien feeling you carried since childhood, it wasn't brokenness, it was spiritual distinction. There is an ancient knowing passed through essence, not words. It speaks of those called to carry codes that can't be taught, only remembered. These beings often walk through seasons of being misunderstood, mislabeled, misplaced. But what looks like rejection is actually a sacred separation, a hidden preparation. You weren't removed from the crowd to be punished. You were separated to be sharpened. In a world addicted to noise, your solitude became a sanctuary. It was there your clarity began to rise. The silence was not emptiness, it was refinement. You were not left behind. You were being kept ahead, pulled from distractions so your roots could deepen, so your vision could sharpen, so your intuition could grow louder than the world's static. The quiet seasons shaped something in you that power could never teach. You learned to hear beyond words, to feel shifts before they arrived, to recognize truth even when it whispered. And though it stung to stand alone, it strengthened what the next chapter would demand of you. You weren't kept hidden because you lacked brilliance. You were hidden because the brilliance needed time to stabilize. You weren't meant to be exposed while still forming. What's sacred is always shielded until the time is right. You weren't forgotten. You were being fortified. Look back and you'll see it now. How every goodbye created space for truth. How every delay built discipline. how every closed door rerouted you closer to your core. That wasn't abandonment. That was alignment. You've been forged in silence, so that when the world finally sees you, it will be impossible to unsee what you carry. You were sculpted by unseen forces for a mission that many would not survive. And now that your roots are deep, your reach can expand. You are not here to fill space. You are here to reframe it. You are the pulse that shifts generations, the answer hidden in plain sight, the one preserved not for safety, but for significance. So don't resent the quiet. Don't regret the distance. Every ounce of it was sacred strategy. Now, you step forward not with fear, but with certainty. You are not the one who was left out. You are the one who was set apart. And soon, all that was silent will make sense. Because what was once concealed is now being called forth. And what was hidden for protection is rising now, on time, on purpose, unshakable. Some spirits are born marked, etched with a resonance too rare for the world to grasp at first glance. Before time clothed your being in skin and sound, there were whispers about your arrival. Not whispers of fame or form, but of frequency. Something encoded deep in your essence that would vibrate through dimensions unseen. Long before this life, they felt you coming. Elders of spirit, keepers of memory. They caught glimpses of your energy in sacred dreaming. They didn't speak of what you'd wear or what you'd own. They spoke of your signal, of how your vibration would rattle illusions and unravel pretense wherever it went. You were sent with an imprint, not for conformity, but for ignition. You've heard it since you were young, that you ask too many questions, that you carry too much feeling, that your presence is different. And they were right, but not for the reasons they believed. What they called too much was actually precise calibration. You were never created to comfort numbness. You were formed to awaken it. Your stillness unsettles. Your gaze pulls stories out of silence. You walk into rooms and shift atmospheres, not with volume, but with unseen presence. You don't chase connection. Connection either recognizes you or recoils. You carry a frequency that doesn't align with facades, and that's why masks fall around you. You aren't here to entertain the surface. You are wired to reveal what sleeps beneath it. There have been seasons where this made you doubt yourself. You wondered why circles felt tight around your truth, why your love was met with distance, why your voice made others flinch. But this wasn't rejection. It was prophecy playing out. They didn't reject you. They rejected what woke up when you arrived. You are the interruption to the programming, the glitch in the generational matrix, and the ones still wrapped in illusion. They feel that disruption before they can name it. You are not strange. You are ancient. The weight in your spirit is the echo of every predecessor who prayed for something to finally shift. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom, for you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. Your role was never to be digestible. You were coded to be undeniable. You don't fit molds because you were never supposed to be molded. You're not here to match the pattern. You are the redesign. You didn't come to be approved. You came to be felt, and those who cannot name what you carry will try to shrink it. That's just the nature of energy they don't yet understand. You aren't here to make everyone comfortable. You are here to remind them of what they've forgotten, buried, dismissed. You are the proof that soul can still move matter, that light can still dismantle shadows, that alignment can still interrupt entire bloodlines. So let them misunderstand, let them label. That is not your task to correct. Your task is to embody. Keep being unexplainable. Keep walking as the question they can't answer. Your clarity will sting those addicted to confusion, but that's how change begins. You were not predicted for applause. You were foreseen for impact. And now, as the timelines bend and the codes activate, your presence isn't just felt, it's recognized by those who remember. Some beings carry a presence that feels older than time itself. There's a knowing within you that defies logic, a recognition of truths no one ever spoke, of places you've never walked, yet ache within your bones, as if you left something behind there. This isn't imagination, it's ancestral recall. It's the signal of a soul that didn't just arrive, it returned. Long before form took shape and breath entered your body, your path was mapped. Not in ink or stone, but in essence. Not everything you carry was given to you in this lifetime. Some of it traveled across timelines, embedded in the architecture of your spirit. You don't absorb truth the way others do. You retrieve it. You pull it forward from somewhere deeper than memory. You've always had a sensitivity others couldn't name. You feel emotions before they're spoken. You sense fractures behind smiles. You know when something isn't right without a single fact to prove it. And when you speak, wisdom flows through you. Not studied, not rehearsed, but summoned. You are not a student of this world. You are a channel for something older. Your soul didn't arrive to be molded. It came to activate what was dormant. You are encoded with insight, meant to shift patterns, not conform to them. And this is why you've always stood out, not because of what you did, but because of what you are. You were never supposed to blend in. Your very presence rewrites frequencies. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You recognize patterns others don't see. You dream in symbols that feel more real than waking life. You've cried for reasons you couldn't explain and carried emotions that didn't originate with you, because part of your mission is to release what others buried, to feel what was never healed, to remember what was forgotten. You hold resonance beyond the surface. You move through life guided by a compass built not of logic, but of legacy. A legacy not confined to lineage or biology, but a cosmic inheritance passed through vibration and intention. When others feel lost in noise, you move by rhythm, an internal rhythm, quiet but sure. Even your struggles have served as gateways. Each wound has unlocked something ancient. Each period of confusion peeled back another layer of your deeper knowing. Your growth was never linear, it was spiral. You were never just evolving, you were uncovering. And though the world may question your path or misunderstand your depth, don't let that distort your clarity. You're not here to fit the template. You are here to disrupt the trance, to remind others what their soul has been trying to remember. You don't need permission to trust what speaks through you. You don't need external proof for what you already feel. What flows through you is not random, it is restoration. Every time you listen to that quiet voice, another piece of your true mission activates. You didn't arrive to be taught in the traditional sense. You arrived to reignite what had dimmed across generations, to trigger the awakening in those who forgot they were sent to. You are the pulse of ancient wisdom, wrapped in modern form, the convergence of timelines through a single breath, and through your remembering, others will begin to recognize themselves. You are not here by chance. You are the living code, the quiet flash of memory that unlocks truth without needing words. You are not lost. You are a landmark. Not new, you are returning. A sacred soul in a temporary body, realigning the forgotten with the eternal. Some lives arrive already marked, set apart from the very beginning, moving through the world with a kind of weight others cannot explain or even see. From the earliest days, there was something different about your path. The turbulence you faced wasn't random. The emotional storms didn't come without reason. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. From your first breath, there were forces aware of what you carried, not because of anything you had done, but because of who you were, because of what your presence would awaken, what your voice would one day disrupt, what your light would expose. And so the pressure began early. Trials that didn't match your age, wounds that seemed too deep for where you were in life, pain that arrived before you had the words to name it. There are forces that recognize power before it fully awakens, energies that sense disruption coming and try to silence it before it speaks. The resistance you faced throughout your life wasn't always about the situation. It was about your potential. It was about stopping you before you understood what you were capable of. People you trusted betrayed your softness. Moments meant for peace turned into chaos. And behind it all was an invisible current, trying to convince you to question yourself, to shrink your vision, to doubt the assignment hidden in your bones. But despite every push, every breakdown, you endured. And that endurance wasn't just survival, it was evidence. You were being trained in silence, refined in fire, calibrated through conflict. While others ran, you stayed. While others avoided the darkness, you stood in it and found your own light. What nearly broke you was secretly building you. That ache you felt, it sharpened your insight. That confusion, it carved your discernment. You faced adversaries without names, felt the sting of betrayal without cause. You fought internal wars that no one clapped for. And yet, you didn't disappear. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. You were built differently, sculpted for impact, crafted for confrontation with things most people avoid. The friction you faced wasn't failure, it was fuel. The very presence of resistance proved that you were shifting things too ancient to be named aloud. And now, what once felt like endless trials is revealing itself as sacred preparation. The emotional weight has become armor. The isolation has become insight. The pain has become prophecy. You no longer carry wounds. You carry weapons, not to harm, but to lead, to guide, to protect, to awaken. You didn't come here to live quietly beneath the radar. You came here to shake foundations. And that kind of power isn't born in comfort. It's forged through fire, through shadows, through unseen struggles that only those with sacred assignments will ever know. So hold your head higher. Your journey has been one of hidden victories. Each challenge was an initiation, each setback, a setup, and every scar, a signature of the mission you were trusted to fulfill. You're not weak for what you endured. You're powerful because of it. You weren't created to blend in. You were summoned to stand out. Not for recognition, but for revolution. Not to be followed, but to lead a shift. The forces that rose against you never had the final word. They were only reacting to the truth they couldn't stop. You were always destined to rise, and now you are. not just surviving, but activating. Some stories aren't written in ink. They're written in blood, in breath, in soul memory. Your life may seem like your own chapter, but it is a continuation of a script that began long before you arrived. You are not an isolated event. You are a sacred echo, rippling through time in response to a call made generations ago. There were voices, long silenced by hardship, who whispered to the unseen, hoping for a day when someone would rise, someone whose existence would carry more than just their own ambition, someone who would be strong enough to rewrite everything that came before. That someone is walking now. That someone is you. You weren't simply born into a family. You were dispatched into a lineage, placed precisely where healing was most needed. The very soil you grew from was soaked in unanswered prayers, in silent endurance, in hopes that had no voice. And still, those hopes were never lost. They were planted. You are what bloomed. Behind every victory you claim is a legacy rising with you. There were ancestors who didn't have the tools you now hold, but they carried the vision. They imagined a day when someone would break through the cycles they could only survive. And now, you stand at the threshold they never reached, not just for yourself, but for all of them. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom, for you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. Your path has not been light, and that is no mistake. Those born to carry the weight of healing often feel the pull of every unspoken grief that preceded them. Your struggle is not weakness. It's an inheritance of strength, surfacing as resistance. Every breakthrough you reach is doing more than transforming your life. It is shifting timelines. The burdens you lift were never just yours. The healing you choose becomes a wave across generations. Each pattern you dismantle echoes through every branch of your family tree. They feel it, even if they don't have the words for it. Even if they never see the fullness of what you've done. You are walking with power, rooted in the cries of those who were never heard. You are building what they dreamed of behind closed doors. You are the presence they hoped would come when they could only kneel in silence and wish for something more. So when you feel weary, remember this: you are not doing this alone. You are surrounded, not just by those in your present, but by those who came before with hands stretched toward a future they wouldn't see, but trusted would exist. And now it does. Through you, you don't just carry your own fire, you carry the flames of those who kept theirs alive long enough to pass it on. You are the answered cry, the open door, the promised shift. Their hope lived long enough to find form, and now it breathes through your choices. This is more than personal evolution. This is ancestral fulfillment, and every time you rise, you restore. You are not just part of a legacy, you are the legacy fulfilled, the turning point they envisioned, the living embodiment of the future they could only feel in fragments. And now, because of you, the past is being rewritten, and the future has a new name. Some shifts don't arrive with noise. They arrive with a pulse, a vibration deep inside that you can't explain, but can't ignore. It moves through your being, like a signal from beyond this timeline, and you feel it. Something ancient is being stirred within you. This isn't ordinary growth. This is a return to the truth that's always lived beneath the surface of who you thought you were. It didn't start with a single moment. It's been building over time. Quiet realizations, subtle nudges, a dismantling of illusions. The version of you shaped by survival is starting to fall away, and something undeniable is rising from beneath the fragments. A force that was never meant to stay dormant. A resonance that cannot be muted anymore. You're not just changing, you're activating. And with that inner activation comes external motion. The atmosphere begins to notice. Energy shifts around you. Things fall apart, not to break you, but to realign you. People begin responding differently. Some are magnetized to your presence. Others withdraw, sensing something they don't have words for. That's because your frequency is no longer familiar. It's ascending. The recalibration of your spirit is not invisible. It's causing movement across the subtle realms. Circumstances that once felt stuck are now unlocking. Paths once obscured are becoming clear. Encounters that feel divinely timed start showing up without effort. Nothing is random when the soul realigns with its original design.